YouTube. You already know who it is, baby. Skaldan. Guys, I'm just gonna get right straight to the point with this one. We got some great support coming out for Heroes, but a lot of you guys are just you've got it all wrong. You got it all wrong when it comes to the support. You've got it all wrong when it comes to the direction of Omni Heroes. You've got it all wrong when it comes to ratios. You've got it all wrong when it comes to what's good and what's not good and proper deck building theory. But I'm here to fix all that. Yeah, I've taken a lot of time to, come to the conclusion with this particular list, and also did some testing with Jay Miggs, fellow hero player. A lot of you guys might know him. You know, several like regional tops on heroes prior to like the release of Molcharmi Huvalos, and yeah, I've also been a huge player of this deck. But I would say like a lot of my competitive experiences with like other decks. So yeah, like I play the game really well. I have some wins over like multiple time winner YCS champions. And so, yeah, I know a thing or two. And yeah, I don't just play heroes. I know a lot of you guys are talking shit online about like my theory with heroes, but I'm coming from a perspective of I'm trying to make this a viable deck as competitively as possible in a very competitive local and regional scene. So yeah, that's where I come from, and yeah, like here's the proof in the pudding. I play all the decks, guys. I've played like Blue Eyes, I played Malice, played Dragon Tail, played all like the recent meta decks all the way back and until as early as like a Power of the Elements draw. So I've been, studying the meta for years on end at this point, and again, top multiple regionals, um, nationally qualified, got my Nats invite a few times here and there, defeated YCS champ. So like, I'm up there. I'm not just kind of coming to you guys without any kind of history or track record of success. Um, so I'll get right into it. In terms of the deck list, post release of Miracle Ejector and Fountain, so that would include the OCG release of Duskcrow as well as the Furnace. I think this is probably what I've landed on. It's like a list of, 41, 42, 43, with about 12 to 13 non-engine slots in the main, but you can of course side out some of your engine to make do and be able to fit a little bit more non-engine that's in the side. A quick note on the non-engine, it's subject to change, right? Based off of the meta formats. The best way to actually like do this video is probably like this. If we're being honest with ourselves, like you wanna, when you're deck building, always strip down the deck to its bare bones to really understand what our engine looks like, why are we playing certain garnets versus others, so that way you're able to plan accordingly with your non-engine after the fact. Obviously, with something like Heroes, something like Ash Blossom and Droplet, like those six cards are probably near mandatory with Fua. That's nine, like near mandatory cards that are just going to make sense with every format. But it's always good to just kind of, you know, be concerned with what are your like non-negotiables from an engine standpoint, so that way you know what your deck at its core is basically capable of doing. So this is mine essentially. For me, I want to play Omni Hero in a way that is uh, gonna give me as many pushes as possible, all while still giving me the options at polymerization in a variety of different ways. And for me, something like Fusion Destiny is just a non-negotiable because Fusion Destiny is the OG one card combo if we compare apples to apples with Ejector, right? It's a one card combo that gets you Plasma, DPE, Law without having to worry about, the traditional choke point of Vion. I've seen a lot of decks with like Omni Reborn and Jaden BR, like they're trying to experiment away from the Vision Law and Infusion Destiny, but in all honesty, like I think that is just highly problematic because we already know what the deck loses to, and we're seeing what the new support is doing. And what the new support is doing is just actually trying to resolve the problem with resolving Vision Hero increase and or getting stopped at the Vion choke point. Because in the past, let's save this quick. In the past, right? Like to heroes today looks like this. This is my list today. Like this is actually something I would take to locals today and potentially do relatively okay with. In the past, like you played the deck in terms of being able to, having result Vion to get your polymerization, and then your backup option and or extender was Fusion Destiny because if you got stopped, that just meant if Vion got stopped, it just meant that you weren't fusing. Then you went into your Vision line, in your Destiny line to basically set up TP and like Plasma. Um, but yeah, funny enough, I think a lot of hero players are just downright awful. I'm gonna say it straight up. Like a lot of guys have it wrong when it comes to the new support, and a lot of you guys are not seeing what Konami is basically telling us hero players to kind of get used to versus what's the new status quo, right? Um, and I'll get into what that is, like what the support like really spells out in terms of change. But I think like some of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of people make the grave mistake of just bad deck building is because you guys are getting tunnel vision around what the new support is really going to offer us. And you think it's like the be all end all. You guys are somehow under the impression that this is a brick, Ferris is a brick, Increase is a brick, Fusion Destiny with Denier is definitely a brick, but you somehow still made the case to play. A lot of you guys made the case to play Malicious, even though this thing's absolutely bonkers if you pitch it off with Ferris and or can get access to it with Fusion Destiny. Um, it's just I'm seeing very, very, very abysmal deck building in the community, and I just thought to just straight up address it. Um, with my list, I'm literally maxed out on the options I have to get to polymerization. There is the line under the Vision Hero stuff to go AHL, Ferris for increase, increase for Vaughn to get the poly. I could even go ejector into straight Vion or ejector into Ferris into Vion. I can go Fusion Destiny, set up my board, then go add a Vion, normal the Vion, dump the new fountain so that way I could have DPE Plasma Law, and I could just outright open the polymerization if I need to. So in theory, three lines of play to actually get to a very, very meaty board and or have multiple ways to get to polymerization. Meanwhile, like I'm seeing a lot of you guys do this, like you cut this for some reason, you cut plasma, okay, maybe. And then you definitely cut these. So you cut like four cards. But the fact of the matter is, when you see something like this, even something you don't even play, like the bonfire, the Rhoda, when I see something like this, the choke point now is just Furnace, right? Like the only cards that add polymerization in this deck are Vion and Furnace. And when I see this, it just means like you're not figuring out an optimal way to get to Vion consistently. Like the only way, like you're really saying that like I'm gonna go AHL for Ejector. Sorry, AHL for Stratos. Stratos into Ejector, add either the Vion or the Furnace in case you opened it. But the reality is the opponent's gonna have hand traps. So if they ash this, and like they're in the know where deck building is going, and somehow all these like YouTubers and people are starting to get into agreement for some reason that the you just shouldn't be playing Ferris at all or shouldn't be playing Fusion Destiny, then you're just creating choke points for yourself because the fact of the matter is Hero still is going to lose to Droll. We have less of a hard time now under Fua because of Fountain, because he could outright set the mass change even if you get drolled and or Fua. So that guy actually helps under droll and Fua. So that way you can potentially play a mid-range board. If you truly can't play through Fua, you now have options to play a very mid-range deck with the Masked Hero stuff. So this one helps you play mid-range. This one helps you play mid-range under Fua. Again, Furnace helps play under Fluid. This one helps play under Droll mid-range, right? But in case you don't get Fluid or Droll, you now have access to all these other lines should you want to actually do the full hero combo. So when I see something like this and I see like Fusion Destiny cut, like yeah, from a deck building perspective, it's nice. You guys have one, two, what is it? I guess 17 slots for non-engine. But the problem is like you have six one card combos. Make it eight, I guess, with Stratos, 10 if you count the Vion. You might add like your Rhoda, your Foolish Barrel, get up to like 12, even 15 if you do, I don't know, e-call. That's what modern deck building calls for is like 15 one card combos. I don't believe because this is a fusion based deck that this is a one card combo. This like for example, we take a look at, you don't have to steer too far away from things. If you take a look at Dragon Tail, you've got all these cards that start your combo. So one, two, three, 5 mana, one, six with the Lucaeus, Malulu, 9 cards, 12 and 15 with including the power spells. So you have 15 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Exactly 15, right? This is what modern deck building is calling for. You can also count Fusion, Branded Fusion. So that's 17 total. But the fact of the matter is, because this is a Fusion deck, guys, it's a Fusion deck, just like Heroes Fusion deck. If you just had Kitu, or here's a better example. Let's say you just trying to do a one card combo with Rihu, and you don't have any, like, I don't know, you just open like all this shit. You're never actually able to resolve this. You need stuff in hand. You need to also be like in the mindset that like my whole hand, like I'm doing two, three, four, 5 card combos with heroes. That's just the matter of the fact, right? Like that's just how the operation of fusion works in Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know what to tell you. Like you never use Femena or Rahu or Ketu on their own. Even in like, the most prevalent fusion deck in the modern meta today. It's branded Drake or just Drake whatever you want. Anyways, I digress. That's my point. So like you guys are saying, yeah, let's just cut the bricks, but you've just created this world now where that's today's list. We need this one. Yeah, with this skeleton of engine, maybe you're playing like two polys or two master change, whatever. You're created now this like weird paradigm where like, oh, we're getting all these brand new cards that get us into furnace for polymerization. But then you've cut your other means and alternative routes that you could have just cut down on ever so slightly to get to poly and to be able to fuse in the first place. So we today have, not today, like once the stuff releases, we had 3 dedicated lines that are quite lean and mean to be able to establish board presence and then some. But you guys, for some reason, are hell-bent that Ferris is a bad card and Increase is a brick. And apparently Denier is a brick too, not to mention like Plasma. You guys are out your minds. And I blame the YouTubers. I blame the YouTubers, and like they did not actually do anything wrong. The YouTubers are deck building. And I've seen the videos. They're deck building against like the modern meta, and then videotaping like some cool highlights to try to show off what the new stuff can do in singularity, like on its own. Um, but the fact of the matter is, I don't know if those lists are optimized for like the competitive scene. And I would bet you guys like for a lot of those like hardcore replays where they're showing you how to play the deck, they're all heavily relying on like their non-engine, like they're resolving Fua, they're opening droplet or drawing into it. The stuff that we're used to doing and seeing, they're doing in those replays. Like really pay attention to it. Like they're showing you very specific replays to get you excited about the video. But is that going to be like a sustainable deck list for a long tournament? I can't be the judge of that, but in my records, it is not. Um, what else did we cut? No, that's it. Oh, reinforcement of the army. Put that back in. Yeah, so this is my skeleton, guys. So to each their own. I'm comfortable with just maybe putting in the high impact hand traps as my non-engine, and the board breaker of choice, as always, is forbidden droplet. Call me stuck in the past, but whatever, so be it. I definitely know what I'm doing. And Josh Blossom. Oops, we gotta do the feed art always. There you go, 43. That's literally what I'm playing. We'll talk a little bit about my side. I still believe that you should be playing more Mass Change just post side because they help you beat Droll and Lockbird, especially if you just like side out your Shadow Mist, your one copy of Shadow Mist. I believe that with the new support, what will happen is you don't necessarily like need this to go first, and it's definitely like it's not bad going second, but it's kind of bricky going second. So you can side it in knowing that you're going to go first because if you go AHL specialist, no effect, then shotgun the mass change, you just can just basically turn off a lot of different hand traps like Veiler, Droll, and a bunch of other stuff. And then in the side, it's just really other breakers. The other cool thing I think everyone should be doing is protection of the elements, just because if you're playing it the way I'm playing it, where like you're relying on the vision package and Fusion Destiny in conjunction to Ejector. Ejector then becomes a free add for protection of the elements, which just like takes your ceiling from here all the way up to like here because you have an Omni Negate on board, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, spell or trap card negate, which is massive. So imagine layering this with your contrast, your chaos, plus everything else that we're used to doing, which is DPE law. Like you're setting yourself up for, I think, good success. Awesome. Let's do a quick combo. Solo mode. Cool. Um, and here's why I'm saying you guys I think are just so awful in the community when it comes to leveraging this deck, because I just truly think today you guys just don't understand how to um actually like play heroes, right? So like let's say this is our opening hand. We're gonna start with AHL and Mali. Oops. So let's say it's a two card combo or like 1.5 card combo because Mali can just be anything. But let's go AHL. And then we'll go Stratos. We're gonna add, of course, our one copy of Ferris. Again, we're pretending like we're playing this stuff today without the new support. You guys are probably playing in such a linear way. You go Ferris, and then we're gonna try to resolve increase, and then you get here, you get Ash Blossomed, and then you just cry to mama. Well, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. The reason why I'm just so against cutting increase in Ferris in the first place, even if you can just play one copy, is they gave us three Malleys, guys. Malley is one of the most busted cards ever printed. So you're supposed to actually keep increase on the back row to all eternity to punish your opponent for not being able to stop this push here with some of the old school hand traps. So you're gonna go malicious. They could ash that, right? And at that point, your increase is definitely resolving. You get to Vine, you can just dump another Mally anyways off of the Vion. You're supposed to be actually doing this. And the reason why you're supposed to be doing this is because at any point you can get nibbed in this line and then you can still have increase to push for the access to polymerization and to get bodies on the field for link climbing and be able to dump off Vion. It's going to be more attractive for the untrained eye to nib you if they don't know what Heroes is trying to do. They'll just nib you at like 5 summons. Or even better, what you can do is you're using the increase to dodge whatever old tool hand traps they might be saving for some of like the extra deck monsters like Link or Fusions. So I like to do this actually. Add the Vion. Now You go normal Vion effect. If they want to interact with Vion as they should, which is the correct method, like you're literally playing to respect that the opponent knows what's going on, right? That's how you should be sequencing your hands. You're playing to respect that the opponent knows how to stop you. Not let me burn this line and pray to God they don't have Ash. They're gonna have Ash, but now we played through it, and we played through Nib, and we played through all these other hand traps, Veiler, Imperm, because we're pressing the opponent with increase set on the back row. You wouldn't believe how many times I punish people who are just like, oh, you can chain that. It's not equipped. They think it's like equipped, or they think it's like a continuous spell, but it's a continuous trap. It's a quick effect, guys. So a lot of you guys just don't know this. Like you guys don't understand the value of increase, and they're giving you more lines to pull. That doesn't mean we throw out the old with the bathwater and get onto the new. Just simply because if we are able to actually have lean and mean multiple engines and layer them together and be able to kind of press our opponent and put pressure on them, we're going to end up on the exact same board through more interruptions. But if you're just playing Ejector, AHL with the one Furnace, like I ask you, what is your game plan when your opponent reads a card like Furnace, which is essentially Habakiri, guys? Um, Habakiri, Yu-Gi-Oh! Mitsurugi. Like when if I was an untrained, if I didn't know what like heroes did, and I was just like, a meta player, and I read Furnace, guys, Furnace is just Habakiri. But for fusions, Habakiri says special discard, keep this thing in hand, add off whatever comes out. Well, that's literally Furnace for us, guys. So if that gets ashed, just like the same way we ash whatever comes out of Habakiri, and it's kind of hurtful, I ask you, what are you doing to get the poly if your Furnace gets ashed and you do not have access to Vion by a hard opening it? Leave a comment in the description, please. Like I really don't see why we need to cut just one card increase in Forest, two cards. Anyways, I digress. That's what I was doing like today, but you guys don't do this. You guys don't even know that this is a thing. You guys probably don't even know this is a quick effect because it just doesn't read quick effect, but it actually is because the card is treated as a continuous drop, meaning it's always a quick effect on your opponent's turn or your own. It is only in main phase, yes, but it's still technically a quick effect. It's a type speed 2 type of card. So that's how I do it. I like, normal the Vion, and now we just played through Ash, we played through Imperm on the Cross, Veiler, all of it. Imperm on the Vion, Veiler on the Vion, Ash on the Vion. It does not matter because if they try to interact here, you just chain this. And then the Vion resolves, and you can just get another Vion out to add polymerization. So they're going to literally need Ash, Imperm, Veil, or Veiler, Nib to stop this. Which then at that point, you're not likely to face that type of situation. But even if they do have Ash, Imperm, Veiler, and Nib, that's why you play Fusion Destiny. Because if you can't get to polymerization by like link climbing and like summoning out some Destiny heroes to use Cross to add, how are you getting to even Furnace to add polymerization? You're just simply not. So you guys are just literally trading in the old engines for the new stuff, but it accomplishes the same thing. It's more efficient, yeah. Like Furnace gets you to poly quicker, but that doesn't excuse the fact that you guys are creating choke points for yourself when the deck already is choking on Vion increase in the first place, unless you know what you're doing, which I just literally showcased. So yeah, I'm gonna play all three engines, guys. They're not something that you need to feel like you need to sacrifice on. Um, well, let's go back to deck building because I just want to finalize this video with you guys by showing you my like go first line of play just because I think it's like quite powerful. So I'm gonna side out some of my hand traps. So this is post side, like what I like to do, how I'm thinking about this if I know I'm going first. Going second is straightforward. I'm just looking to side out a lot of my non-engine in terms of like hand traps just for some of the breakers and thrust. And then I just put in the mulch armies. With exception to maybe if I know that the deck is just gonna choke really hard into draw, I just would keep troll. But Ash is only there in the main guys as a defensive card for stopping the mulch armies. Boom. So this is probably like my generic siding pattern for going first. Oh, I didn't talk about extra deck. Yeah, it's straightforward. I'm playing Atomic. My only like weird thing is probably like Atomic. I don't know if you need this, but I'm gonna try him. There's a world where I cut Atomic for Acid and Abzi just because we now have a new Water Boy. Also, believe it or not, guys, Moltres Perulia can actually be fused to make Abzi, which is kind of cool going second. I think you definitely play 1 to 2 Contrast Hero, like it definitely comes up in grind. And then yeah, everything else is pretty standard. No Cross Crusader. I still play Wake Up because it's a good countermeasure with Plasma if you still play that against Nibiru. And then yeah, you gotta put the new Thunder Giant. This is essentially Murikumo for us guys. It's gonna be a board wipe and or extender from the grave. And then everything else is pretty like standard, like your DPE, your Infernal Rage, Neo Swim, and it's all pretty standard. Like you still play this guy to add the vanilla. Like it's there's still really good parts of the line. And here's the thing, guys, like a lot of you guys are still playing this stuff, like Cross Crusader, Driver, Infernal Devicer, but for some reason you think that you're gonna get away with playing these lines, but you're cutting things like Denier, Fusion Destiny, the Vision package primarily. I'm looking at you. Like there's no world where Fusion Destiny is a worse card than opening Aqua Dolphiner and Shuffle, right? Like these cards, guys, like this thing, the Ejector's designed for the Neospacian deck. We're only making do with it in Omni because we're literally minimized the Garnets with like the Dolphin and the End Shuffle. A lot of you guys are also were saying, oh, it's a two of, but like you're playing it in Omni and you've justified adding Dolphin, which is a brick, and End Shuffle, which is purely an extender. I'm not gonna even call it a brick, but it's definitely not a starter. And you guys saying, oh, this is a two of. Well, like I just added 2 garnets into my list. Why wouldn't I just max out on this to be more efficient? Because you can't use this, I'm pretty sure, if you have this in hand as well. Like this is a bad card to open unless you have access to this into Ferris, hint hint, to be able to normal summon this and potentially snipe out a hand trap from your opponent. If this card's in your hand, you can send one newspaper and from deck to joy. Yeah, like if you open this and this, GG's, this thing's unused. So all of a sudden now it becomes really good fodder for Ferris. If you can go AHL, then Ferris into Ejector. But yeah, I digress. Like there's a world where in testing I go AHL, Stardos add Ferris. Had the Dolphin and Ejector in hand, so Ejector's theoretically dead. Normaled the Spacian, punished them for not ashing AHL, which you shouldn't. Sniped the Ash Blossom, got hand knowledge. Then I used Ferris dump Ejector because it's a dead card in your hand and just play from there, full combo. It's gonna happen, right? You're gonna open this. You're gonna open this because so many times we've opened this, we've opened this, we've opened this in the past, right? But yeah, let's finish up this masterclass, ladies and germs. Remember, a lot of y'all hero players suck. You guys are terrible. So you need me to kind of save the community. But yeah, let's do go into the bread and butter combo. Oops, no. Oh, before combo, actually, I want to show you guys something. You guys are cutting Fusion Destiny for Ejector. Let's literally like all you have to do is just test it out. By the way, that was a cracked hand, guys. That was insane. Let's do it, right? 2 cards. Let's try Ejector first. Let's say it's a 1 card combo. You only have Ejector and Fusion Destinies. Like let's say it's in the deck. So let's do this. Let's say your opponent. Like let's see what we can actually beat. Effect, you just lose to a Veiler Imperm there. Meanwhile, Fusion Destiny does not lose to Veiler Imperm because at least guarantees you DP on board, which is a form of interruption. Okay, effect. We're gonna go add this to hand. We just lost a draw. Fusion Destiny, what you'll see in a sec, does not lose to draw. You get Ashed here, you just lost to Ash. Right? And you're gonna go like this. effect. He's lost to Imperm Veiler. We'll go into Furnace. Try to use the Furnace effect. Lost to Ash again. Right. The whole thing is riddled with choke points. So if they're stopping this, like let's say they let everything else slide and they're stopping this, or you're just not getting there. Why wouldn't you play the Vision line and Fusion Destiny? Like, look with Fusion Destiny what we can actually do under Droll and Imperm Veiler, believe it or not. So, like, let's say they have, sorry guys, I think I got some lag going on. Ugh, I hate this website. If you get Ash, sure, then both cards lose to Ash, which they do. But let's say they don't have Ash, they have Imperm Droll. Now what we're doing is something kind of incredible because we're insulated from the Imperm first and foremost, and then the combo line under fusion just doesn't lose to Droll until the very end. So what we're gonna do is boom, right? Like really old school stuff, but it's gonna get spicier because there's new support. Dot to the top. Here, they're gonna be tempted to probably Imperm Veiler the Cross because it's just two effects and one's ignition. Like the second effect to add is ignition. So here, if they try to imperm, you just chain the DPE and then continue playing because you'll have the body on board. So you don't actually even lose to imperm. You can still do certain things, especially if you have other cards in hand to extend. Let's say, we're gonna do like the special summon, right? And then what now we can do is you either add the plasma or what you can now do is actually add Vion, get drolled. What's cool too is like, let's say you open Vion and we just added plasma. What you can now do is normal the Vion, dump Fountain. Then this card again was just entirely designed for the hero player to play under Droll mid range, but we're gonna abuse it with Fusion Destiny here, where we're going like a very meaty board, and we're backing it up with you guessed it, the boy himself, Darklaw. So we got Droll, so there's no point in accessing polymerization just because you can't. There we go. To top. Here, what actually you would have done is you would have kept this on the field and then tagged out the Mali just so you can keep this on the field. I guess it doesn't matter. We still have bodies. Let's just say we didn't. It doesn't matter. The ideal situation though is you keep Denier on the field, then you're using Mali to tag out to search off the cross. But now what you could just do is you go like this. Again, under Droll and Imperm, guys, because this thing checks Imperm. And then you go boom. And this is your end board. You pass back. They go, I don't know, Foolish Burial. You chain this. Like, this is crazy. Because we played Fusion Destiny. And going second, Fusion Destiny is a board breaker. It just puts so much pressure onto the board. And in simplified game state, like, if you and your opponent are grinding and you establish DPE, it kills a lot of decks. Like, if they're opening, like, continuous spells and field spells, you can check them. Yummy. They need their bodies on board. You're clearing the board, and this is coming back over and over again. It's a free resource. You can't do this without Fusion Destiny, guys. This type of line under Droll and Imperm, you just simply can't. So yeah, like there's no way that Ejector is a better card than Fusion Destiny. It's just they have different applications, and the reality is through variants, through a long event like Original, there's gonna be moments where you're gonna wish you saw this instead of this. And don't play this at 2. Play it at 3 in Omni because you're already running 2 bricks. I will say this though, this card is nice because this can potentially tag this back in and this. You get to draw a card. I really love that. Hidden aspect. Just because a lot of us are jumping off of Liquid Soldier. We're not actually using that card anymore to kind of draw into non-engine. So this is nice. It's like you get the nice draw, which is like a mini Liquid Soldier. Anywho, let's do a test hand and go full combo. Hmm, I don't really like this hand. Let's try again. Because it's just one push, right? It's just Stratos. If Stratos gets stopped, you're dead. Okay, I like this. I like this a lot. We're gonna do this. This is gonna play around the issue with Vion being a choke point because we opened the mass stuff and we opened Vion and we have Fusion Destiny in case we get pulverized by like Molcharmies or Droll. But yeah, the reason why I'm taking in like protection of the elements and then also the Shadow Mist is like this is helping us beat Droll. So let's actually do that. Let's do we opened AHL and Maui with mass change. So like 2.5 card combo. Like this could be anything. I like to do this still. Like this is still going to be a powerful line. No effective mist. Oops. Yeah, can't get drolled here. Can't get Veilered. Yeah, you can go full combo from here. But again, like what I would do is just banish this, keep the increase in the back row to basically pressure any kind of extra deck monsters using their effects. Like things like Sunrise, Flaming Man, Infernal Rage, all that won't get impermanent really because you're holding this in the back row. Anyways, I got someone at the door, guys. I'm not gonna go to the full combo, but what I was gonna do is off the Cross Crusader add Miracle Ejector, which will give me access into the protection elements, because right now our field presence will not lose to Ash on like Vion. We're gonna get there. And then I was gonna go into Dark Claw, DPE, Wake Up if I want to summon like Stratos on my opponent's turn for a Duster. And the favorite contact set, there'll be Sunrise on board to have protection elements on at all times. And then Darklaw, you'll be able to actually have Darklaw, and in some cases, if you Fusion Destiny, you can do double Darklaw lines as a result. So yeah, that's how I'm thinking about the new deck. Hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.